internal dimension of salah, the internal aspect of salah, which is الشروط الباطنة من أعمال القلب, the action of the heart and what's necessary of that, the internal dimension of salah. قال رحمه الله تعالى, the first part is the external dimension is how to have a valid action of salah. You may have all of this check mark, good, done, and you have nothing of the reward because the heart or the khushu' or the focusedness in salah or what's supposed to be there is not there. Today he will discuss what needs to be there to get the reward of the akhirah, not just to have the actions of salah being done. You don't have to do dhuhr again, dhuhr is done, but how to get the full reward. قال رحمه الله تعالى, it's a condition to have khushu'. It's short, a prerequisite to have khushu'. And he will argue in like 2 pages, and I'm going to be reading for the most part because those few pages are really very precious. He quoted an ayah like Allah Azza wa Jalla قال أقم الصلاة لذكري, make iqamah, establish, perform salah. What purpose? For what purpose? So as to make dhikr of me, to remember. No remembrance, no establishing of salah. If there is ghafla and heedlessness, then the dhikr of Allah is not there. قال ولا تكن من الغافلين, do not be of those who are heedless. And then he quoted the ayah that we talked about before, حتى تعلموا ما تقولون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the drunken people, if somebody was drunk, before khamr or alcohol was made illegal and haram completely, in one level it was don't drink around salah time, so as to know what you're saying. And he said, as we discussed before, if somebody does not know what they say, even though they are not drunk, physically drunk, that's the same thing. If somebody does not know what they say in salah, does not pay attention, then the salah is being affected. وقال, he quoted the hadith, ليس للعبد من صلاته إلا ما عقل منها. The person, the slave or the servant of Allah will not have of their salah except what they mind of it. What you mind, what you put your heart and mind of it, this is what you get out of it. And he quoted another hadith, ليس للعبد رب مصلي ليس له من صلاته. Maybe there is somebody who is praying and all they are getting out of their prayer is a ta'ab wal nasr, is the effort to be tired of it, to be physically tired of it. That's what they are getting out of it because it doesn't go beyond this. والتحقيق قال أن المصلي مناج ربه عز وجل كما ورد به الخبر والكلام مع الغفلة ليس بمناجاة البتة. He said, in salah you are having munajat. What is munajat? Secret talk between two. If you are talking to somebody that you love secretly, this is munajat. So he said, heedlessness, if two people loving each other, you cannot say something and you don't mean it. Every word you would mean it and you would choose your words. Talking in this case with ghafla, with heedlessness, is not munajat, it's something else. And he argues that zakat, the other pillars of Islam, zakat, if it is done with not really much intention, it's all about fixing your heart to accept, to take part of your money, which is very dear to your heart, and give it away. So if you do it one time, even if you give it to someone, or you have an accountant, or you do it automatically every year, take from my account, give it to such and such organization, whatever, you don't have to have anything beyond this. Siyam, even if you don't pay much attention, as long as the siyam, the physical siyam is happening, you're getting something out of it. You're breaking your shahwa, you're breaking your desire, you're putting yourself into discipline, even if you don't put much heart into it. Something is happening, the action is happening. He argues even hajj. There is mujahada, there is a lot of struggle that will happen, whether you put intention or don't put intention. You will get something out of it. But when it comes to salah, he said salah is all like dhikrun, wa Qur'an, wa qira'ah, wa ruku', wa sujood, wa qiyam, wa qu'ud. It's all about standing, recitation, ruku' and sujood. And we have only two options. It's either this is meant in itself, the kalam, it's an exercise of your tongue. Because we know in Siyam, al-ju' or hunger is meant in itself, at least partially. Thirst is meant in itself to break your shadow. But now, is really whatever kalam that you're saying, is it meant in itself to practice, to exercise your tongue? Is it meant to exercise your back muscles? Or he said definitely that's not meant in salah. It might come as you get a benefit out of it. But the goal of salah and what's left of salah is what's beyond this. What's beyond the conversation. It's not just the wording. If somebody who does not know this, who is not a Muslim, who said that, what does this mean? Does this mean they get, and they don't understand it. Do they get anything out of saying this kalam? No. If they fast, they will get something out of it, even if they don't put intention. If they go to make hajj, even if they are not Muslim, they get something out of it. If you do salah without meaning every word in it, and knowing that your ruku' is for Allah to show humbleness and everything, then nothing is taken out of this salah. If somebody said, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim, somebody who doesn't know anything about what does this mean, you bring somebody out, your neighbor, and tell him, say, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. And he said it. Even if he said it with tajweed and perfect. Is that what it is? Would the secret happen? No. You really should mean something. There is su'al. There is, and he even argues that if somebody in fiqh, if somebody swears, he said, I swear, I am going to praise someone, and I'm going to ask someone to do something, or ask something of someone, a specific person. And he says it while asleep, you just happen to have it in a dream, and you said you did that. قَالَ لَا يَبَرُّ فِي قَسَمِهِ. He still has to do it and mean it. His qasam, or the oath that he took, is not fulfilled until you do it with intention. So all the adhkar of salah in salah should be done without ghafla. You should mean what's in there. Salah is there لتثقيل القلب وتجديد ذكر الله. It is to make literally, I was doing a little wax on my car the other day. If you look at it, it's still like I did it at night. So I didn't see there's the second part of it. You have to really keep, I don't know the second process of. After you put the wax, you have to, what is it called? Buff it. Yes, you have to. And the more you buff, right? And the material you use, it will become shiny. So salah is there to buff your heart, basically. The more you make dhikrullah, the more you make it, because you go out in dirt again, in dunya, whatever, come back for salah 5 times a day, literally you are buffing your salah like this. Buffing your heart every now and then. Tasqeel al-qalb. And remember, renewal of dhikrullah. Renewal of dhikrullah is not information, it's not something, I become a Muslim, I announce, I accept Islam. It's a matter of maintenance, doing it regularly. And that's what you get out of salah. طيب وتجديد ذكر الله ورسوخ عقد الإيمان, and to establish iman further and further in your heart. This is what's meant by as-salah. When you come to ruku' and sujood, the main purpose of these is not to flex your muscles, is not to stretch. It is to show ta'zeem lillah. Even in dunya, people who are not Muslim, they use, bowing down for some kind of showing respect, or even people who are not religious. You bow down for somebody, paying tribute for somebody. So we show ta'zeem lillah azza wa jal, and we're not supposed to make sujood, even bow down for anybody other than Allah, because it's ta'zeem, glorification, glorifying of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the purpose of it. The purpose of it is not just to focus on flexing and doing it right is good, but what is the purpose behind that? I, the imam, the physician, the PhD, now put my forehead for Allah. Put my head down for Allah. This is what we should be in our heart. No matter how big we think of ourselves, this is what we do as we bow down or prostrate for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not just the movement of the back and the head, because this in itself doesn't have much mashaqqa. This is not what's meant from this action in salah. What's meant is to show and have in your heart this ta'zeem for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. And he argued that all of that referred to it being a condition to have your heart present in your salah. And he said a counter argument or an argument on the other side that fuqaha might say, what are you talking about? Jurisprudence, the people who, you know what fiqh? Al-fiqh هو دراسة أفعال المكلفين. You study the actions of people who are mukallafun, people who are adult, Muslims, adult. So it studies the actions. It doesn't study the heart, what's in your heart, what's in your niyyah. It just looks at the action. So if you're saying that this is a condition, you mean if I don't focus in my salah, I don't have salah, he said this is not what we are talking about here. Yes, the fuqaha focus on if you do your salah right and the actions as described before. If you do it right, your salah is complete in terms of actions. But you can get zero out of it. And he even argues further to say that, yes, all fuqaha will talk about this, but some sahaba and some of the early generation would even say, he would quote the qawl of Mu'adh ibn Jabal, من عرف من على يمينه وشماله متعمدا وهو في الصلاة فلا صلاة له. That's one of the great sahaba. He said, if you intentionally would find out who is in your right and who is on your left in salah, Mu'adh is saying, it's not me. There's no salah for you. You're not in salah. You're trying to understand Ahmad. That's Ali, I think. This looks like the foot of Ali. This is that. So you're not in salah. That's what Mu'adh radiallahu anhu. We're not here talking about you have to repeat your salah or anything. We're talking about higher level of focusedness on salah. And he quoted the hadith of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, إن العبد لا يصلي الصلاة لا يكتب له سدسها إلا سدسها ولا عشرها وإنما يكتب العبد من صلاته ما عقل منها. As the hadith, a person might make the salah and he doesn't take 1/6 out of it, 1/10 out of it. Only what you get is how much you're focused in your salah, as we quoted the hadith before. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barak ala Sayyidina Muhammad. And he said, the bottom line is at least, at the very minimum, your heart should be there as you're saying takbiratul ihram. That's what the fuqaha agree on. You should have the intention. If you don't put your heart in there that you intend to make this salah, there's no salah. So at least for one moment. And he said, yes, this will make your salah alive. If khushu' is the life of the heart, this will make your salah alive, like a living, something that's living, لكن لا حركة فيه, but it doesn't have any movement. It's in the life support. Alive, in a sense. If only the focusedness that you have in your salah is when you intend in the beginning, your heart is there, I'm praying for Allahu Akbar, 4 rak'ah. And you go left and right in your salah after that. If that's the only time. Yes, okay, you got it. This is the minimum. But how much will you be focused on salah? That's what he's arguing. And he would talk, I was thinking to discuss all of that, that's impossible. But inshallah next time, we will talk about 6 key, the Imam argues about 6 of the things that if you have, you will be in the khushu' in salah. You will be focused in your salah. Hudur al-qalb, presence of the heart. At-tafahum. It's not just understanding, seeking to understand. Al-hayba, to have this awe, this reverence and fear, in a sense, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Al-raja, hope as you're praying, having hope in Allah. Number 6, al-haya. Al-haya, or modesty, and we will discuss all of these in detail. What are the causes of each one of these? What are the reasons why it doesn't happen? How can we make them happen? All these 6 inshallah. ما هي الأسباب وما هي الدوافع وما هي الدواعي وما هو العلاج لكل ذلك. These are the things that we will focus on next time inshallah. صلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. جزاكم الله خيرا.